This is called a tag. A tag allows you to do multiple things. This is a tag sensor. A tag, if you turn on a tag can be turned on and off by certain things. This will sense a tag. If this senses a tag, it will do whatever you want it to do. Like, you could just set it up to something. This is an impact sensor. An impact sensor is for when, like, if you hit an object, it'll sense it, and whatever you have it set up to, it'll do that. This is called a water sensor. A water sensor is a sensor that senses water. Once it senses water, it'll do whatever you set it up to do. This is called a remote tag sensor. This was a Ps4 DLC thing. I don't know why it's on Lbp3, honestly, but it basically does the same thing as a tag sensor. They're basically just the same thing. A tag radar, basically the same thing as a remote tag sensor, also Ps4 DLC. This is called a speed sensor. A speed sensor can be put in any direction: left, right, up, down, all. Also in layers like this. Like, you can switch layers. Yeah. What else? This is a rotation sensor. It senses rotations. This is an angle sensor. This will sense whatever angle you got the object at. This can be very useful for like angling stuff, especially if you use this, since this thing is very angle wise. I use this a lot. This allows you to set angles on a lot of things. That's just live streaming. I can't use that. An AND gate. An AND gate requires 2 outputs before it can transfer a signal. You need 2 positive outputs to transfer a signal. Once you have 2 positive outputs, then whatever you have it set up to will trigger. An OR gate. An OR gate is a gate that allows you to put 2 triggers on it. If either trigger is triggered, the OR gate will turn on, no matter what trigger is triggered. And actually, all of these allow more than 2, actually, because you can just edit that. Because, like, you could set this to a bigger number, increase all of that. See, right now I got the OR gate on 100. AND gate can do that. Pretty sure almost every gate can do that, I think. Quite certain. An XOR gate. An XOR gate is the opposite of that. A timer. A timer is something that will either count up or count down, so whatever you want it set up to. It can be inverted, so you could use it like for an HP bar. I can show you that, actually. This is called a counter. It's kind of like a timer, but it doesn't count. You put an input into it, so it'll start rising. This is called a NOT gate. A NOT gate is a gate that always transfers a signal unless you put a positive signal into it. If you put a positive signal into a NOT gate, the NOT gate will turn off. Now, if that positive signal becomes negative, then the NOT gate will turn back on. So this is good for things that you don't want on while you have a signal running. This is called a direction splitter. A direction splitter is used in this. This is called a controlinator. Controlinator has actually a lot of features. So many features, actually. I'm gonna put this over here. 1 second. Alright. I put together a little logic. A basic logic, actually. So what I did was, a controller is based off your controller. You can like get into this and then start controlling this. You can set this to all sorts of logic. And let's see. This is called a direction splitter, and basically what it does is when you trigger this, it usually this thing can only trigger one way. So if you were to just put this and this, well, if you put it in this, then it would be able to trigger both ways. But if you just stuck it to a normal logic, it would only be pulsing one direction. But if you wanted like left or right or up and down, you would use this, because this would separate the two components. Then you could just stick the left. This could be the left signal, this could be the right signal. Left signal goes into this, right signal goes into this, so on. Or you can do this. I put it in the other thing that's right next to the direction splitter. It's called a direction combiner. A direction combiner allows you to put a direction splitter into a direction combiner, or you can put like two buttons into this and make them do the same thing. That's basically what it does. This is called a toggle. A toggle is basically an on and off switch. It's very easy to understand actually. When it's on the X, it's off. When it's on the check, it's on. Simple. Alright, and what else? A selector. I love selectors. This makes everything so easy. What I like to do is I'll put a tag sensor on these, but you can make a tag sensor into the selector, or you can let the selector pulse through its own self in an even direction, or you can use it like for game formats and stuff like that. I made like a little game menu with it because it allows up and down movement. Alright, let's see. A battery. A battery, well, that's exactly what it says it is. A battery is just a battery. It just has the signal. Really, the only thing the battery does is, depending on the signal, it depends on what it does. So if you had something like speed, that's a perfect explanation. Batteries are perfect for speed. So if you had something like going 700 miles per hour, you connect that thing, you put it on 10%, it'll drop the speed. You can put it to 20, kind of raise the speed. Depending on the battery percentage on the thing, will depend on how fast the thing will go. I use that for speed. Randomizer. A randomizer is, well, it's random. Basically what it is it just randomizes when an output is gonna activate, or what output it's gonna activate itself. Like you could just put this in here, and then you can hook this up to a whole bunch of outputs, and it'll randomly turn them on and off. Also, you can adjust the time that it's on and off. Also, you can mess with this. This allows a new pick each time, so you don't always get the same thing every time, or you can just turn that off and it'll be 100% random. Alright. Next thing. Wave generator. Honestly, I don't know what this does. I never really use it. Not sure what it does. Okay. microchip. This is something I use a lot. I would consider this one of my main bases to logic, because almost all my logic actually contains a microchip. Like this isn't a microchip, or maybe it's in a bracket. No, actually this isn't a broadcast chip. A broadcast chip is different from a microchip. That's actually, I think that's next to the microchip. The broadcast chip. Yeah. What the broadcast chip does is you can like just set up the character to do something. Like earlier in the video you saw how my character was frozen in an ice cube. Well, that was actually by all this logic right here. This can allow you to mess with your player. I use like tag sensors, microchips, impact sensor, it looks like. Tag sensor, controlinator. Controlinator is also one of my favorite things to use, especially when controlling a character specifically. That's a death hazard actually. That right there. Okay, what else do I got? A sequencer. A sequencer is basically a timer. You can make it loop and all that. Sequencer is actually very useful for multiple things. Let's see, I'm just gonna put it right there, cause the sequencer lets you do this. I just built it. Alright, so what the sequencer does is when I start it, it'll play this little message right here. Where's the message? Come on, sequencer. Oh, it's paused. Of course it's not gonna play a message. Alright. Yeah. That's what a sequencer does. The thing that was making a message, that was a mouth. It's called a magic mouth. You can put words into it or whatever. Like you can edit the text. If you have a sequencer, then you can put it on subtitle. If it's not in a sequencer, subtitle will not work. It'll never ever work. That's what sequencers are for. They trigger this to subtitle, so the words will appear down here instead of like anywhere else on the screen. It'll just like pop down here. Alright. Mouths don't only do that. They can record sound. So I can hook up my mic and just record a sound if I wanted to. Let's go back over here. Mover. A mover allows objects to move in different directions, like up and down. Yeah, it goes into negatives. You could just put it backwards. Put it to local space. Actually, I don't really like using local space, because local space, what that does is, well, I mean, it would be good if the camera was following you and you use that. The controls vary. Like, whatever direction you're in, that's what the controls go to. But if you have it off, then left can be always left, right will be always right, up is always up, down is always down. But if you put it on this, like let's say you're upside down and you hit left, well, instead of going left, you'd be going right. That's what that does. Like, it just depends on what direction you're in. This does the same thing that like the mover, it's just more advanced, and you can control the up and down more easily. This is called a follower. A follower is actually very useful. I like using followers, but I don't use them all the time. A follower can follow a player, or a tag. So I could just put this on player, just pop this up to max speed. You can also choose if it can move in and out in directions, like the layers, as I showed you. This is how fast it can move. This is how far it can detect. I put it on infinity. I put that on the max layers, and you can choose the character. You can put it on leader. You can put it on everybody. If you do something, you can get these to actually turn on. Right now they're deactivated because they're not even in color. They're like grayed out. They're not even white. Let's see what else. Besides the mover, we have the in and out mover. That allows an object to move in layers. An object cannot automatically move in layers. A sack person can automatically move in layers. Actually, I never mentioned what a sack person is. You play as a sack person. This is a sack person. That is the very first character you get. There's these as well. There's 3 others. I might have accidentally said 4. I don't know if I did or not. This is called Toggle. Toggle. It's quite interesting, actually. Toggle allows you to turn big and small. When you're small, you can move really fast, jump real high. This toggle. This is the big toggle. Really big. If you play the story mode, this toggle can break through glass and stuff like that. Alright. This is called Oddsock. Oddsock can jump off walls. Like that. Oddsock can just keep on jumping off walls. Oddsock would be a very good parkour thing. That's what I think Oddsock is. Oddsock, I think, is supposed to be a dog, actually. Okay, Swoop. Swoop is a bird. The reason why Swoop is called Swoop is because Swoop can do... hit the wrong button. Swoop can do this. That's considered swooping. You fly up real high, you could just swoop down. I don't have 2 hands on my controller, so I can't exactly fully show you what that does, but basically increases your speed and allows you to get through objects more faster. Alright, what else we got? I'm gonna change back to normal, because it also messes with that bar. What this bar is, this bar, depending on how many objects you have, depends on how far this bar will go up. The more laggy it is, the higher the bar. Also, depending on the character, the higher the bar. Like, if you look at the bar right now, every time you turn into Oddsock and Swoop, this bar will happen. This character and this character mess with this bar. He does not mess with the bar. He does. He makes the bar go like way up here, like almost to this line right here. But the other 2 are like right here. But this one, nothing happens to the bar. But basically what this bar does is, this bar shows you how much creativity you can have in your level. If it gets full, the game will automatically pause, and you cannot place anything in your level. Alright. That's a sack puppet. You wouldn't really understand that. Alright, let's go back to the logic. Okay, let's see, what else we got? This is an advanced movement in and outer. Does the same thing like this, just more advanced. It can move to different directions in a faster time. That. That is DLC actually. That's Move Pack. That requires a move controller, but for some reason I don't need a move controller to activate it because I made my Ps4 controller somehow trigger that. Not exactly sure how that works, but okay. This is called a force chip. A force chip will, it'll force people away from whatever it's on. So if you don't want someone to get near something, this thing could just push them away. Or you could just like hook it up to yourself and just knock people out of your way and stuff like that. This is called a rotator. A rotator makes an object start rotating. I honestly think that the rotator is better than the advanced rotator. I don't really like the advanced rotator because the rotator seems more better than the advanced rotator because I've used a lot of logics with the rotator and I tried to use the advanced rotator, but the advanced rotator tried to screw it up, so I would prefer the rotator over the advanced rotator. In my opinion, I think the rotator is more advanced than the advanced rotator. I think the advanced rotator is just the regular rotator in my opinion, because it's not really that helpful. This one's more helpful than this. This one's dumb. Alright, so, and this, actually, I rarely ever use that. Basically what this does is, you could put this in a sack bar. Let me show you what a sack bar is actually, because you don't know what I'm talking about. A sack bar is this. This is very helpful because you can like create costumes, save costumes, copy costumes, make it do whatever you want. Just like set it up into your little personal bot. Yeah. It's basically just another you just in a way you can just set up. You can just set it up. You can set this up to look at a tag or a player. You could put this in a sack bot and it'll just like start looking at you or start looking at a tag if you have a tag. I explained this one earlier. What this will do is this will put objects in any direction if you want. Let's say you have an object that does not like to stay up. You could put this on an object and it will make it stay up. This can straighten out objects because it holds the object in a certain position in a very stable way. Alright, this is something I rarely ever use. I don't really like it because a rocket rotator. Basically what it does is when this rotator is triggered, the rotator will be random. The rotator will do something like this. Like if the